The Surfing Violinist presents House Violin, Violin Vlog 44. I've been playing violin in Bay County publicly for 30 years, off and on anyway. I was notorious for my grimaces and winces as I fixated so intently on technical precision that I buried any concern for poise, presentation, and showmanship beneath this all-consuming anxiety for accuracy. As I discuss regularly in the surf vlog, this tendency is one I still fight to this day in many other pursuits. That is, the programmed urge to sacrifice all concerns for posture, aesthetics, and style at the altar of well-intentioned, heartfelt, all-in commitment to feeling my way through execution of what my lizard brain imagines is performing my best. But thankfully, in spite of my precocious idiosyncrasy as a performing violinist, my hometown was gracious enough to allow me some leeway as I stumbled on the road to becoming a musician, especially as a kid. With the support of my family, the gracious instruction of my teachers, mentors, and fellow students, I grew as a performer in fits and starts in various forms of musical ensembles, from trios to quartets to student orchestras, community orchestras, mentoring orchestras, and eventually the Regional Philharmonic with conductor David Ott, a series of stints with the quartet helmed by my first teacher Arlene Conrad, and ragtag assemblies of session musicians that ultimately culminated with being a fixture of Anthony Peoples' local gig band. And all of this experience has been invaluable, but I never felt comfortable in my own skin as a soloist. The old winces and grimaces from my recital and audition days were always hiding behind the comforting harmony and rhythmic drone of my fellow performers. By myself, I just wanted to crawl under a rock. But necessity and being stung by the realization that people were so desperate to hear violin performed publicly in our area that they would fall for con men in parking lots were the final pressure points to disjoint my perfectionism from the reality in which perfect performance is not a prerequisite for people's enjoyment of music. When Mel and I first entered Burgunbarrel, we felt at home. Mel was always a big fan of pop culturally accessible forms of jazz, especially Louis Armstrong and Harry Connick Jr., when we were first getting to know each other. Beginning our relationship in the Atlanta metro area provided opportunities for dates at restaurants with a much fuller palette, shall we say, of architectural, aesthetic, and musical tastes. So when we first visited Burgunbarrel, it felt like we had teleported to a different time and place. Like we had our own little pocket of speakeasy culture and vibes in our humble hometown. At the time, I was still far too filled with self-condemnation to ever think I would be playing there on a regular basis. But Phil and Liz have been very supportive and have allowed me a space to hone my house violin skills and style even during thin times when the crowd wasn't showing up in droves. This year, after almost 2 years of consistent, almost weekly and sometimes twice weekly performances at Burgunbarrel, I can call myself House Violinist. In recent months, this has transformed from regularly scheduled gig to a fixture of not just my violin performance schedule, but of my biological rhythm. In 2024, I had made it my goal to paddle or surf or skate every day, and while I didn't fully live up to the challenge, I found that the greater amount of time I spent this year in these pursuits had done wonders for my biological rhythm, energy level, and overall well-being, and the same has been true of my Burgunbarrel gigs. I was very particular at first when I started gigging about doing justice to song requests and felt awkward when I didn't have all my ducks in a row with backing tracks, but Burgunbarrel gigs in particular revealed again, people were just happy to hear any attempt at a song they wanted to hear, even when it was rhythmically imprecise, melodically stilted, and accompanied by a MIDI track that sounded like it had been made by a video game console from the mid-'80s. If someone asked for a song, even if I didn't know it, I just started buying the sheet music from the web app musicnotes.com, whether they tipped or not, for the pro member price of $3.99, and I would muddle through sight reading the melody from the sheet music, oftentimes totally deaf to whether or not what I was playing sounded anything like the way the song was sung or performed, and almost invariably, I would be thanked and tipped at a rate that exceeded the sheet music cost and the quality of my performance. This had the effect of doubling my repertoire in under a year's time and taught me so many new songs in every genre you can fathom. From the thong song to Leon Bridges to Justin Timberlake to Status Quo to ABBA, playing these gigs has helped me deal not only with my self-loathing for my performance inaccuracies, but also my snobbishness as a listener. I've begun to recognize the value of genres I would never have willingly subjected my hipster indifference to. And a huge thanks has to go to not just the customers, but the kitchen staff, wait staff, and bartenders at Burgunbarrel, especially as of late Devon, who introduced me to tunes by Ed Sheeran, Leon Bridges, Sam Smith, and others that I really would never realize worked so well on violin. I've been humbled in the best of ways by my stint as house violinist at Burgunbarrel, and I'll be there this Friday and Saturday night, 6 to 9, and hope to be doing so as many weekends in the months to come as I can. Until next time, keep practice, performance, production, and preparation consistent, even if your muse isn't. Godspeed, virtuosos in training.
To see these videos early, without ads, join the lineup here on YouTube. You just need a YouTube account, and for $1.99 a month, you click this little join button and sign up to get early and ad-free access to 4 monthly vlogs: the surf vlog, the violin vlog, the masala vlog, and the family vlog. Thank you very much.